Hello, my beautiful viewers on E360. How are you feeling? I am so excited. So today we're going to talk about confidence and what does confidence means for you. So I cannot play my beautiful sponsor Jose Escobar's video, but I will play it just before the show and just after the show, because at the moment I am on a free plan and it doesn't allow me to bring in more than one video. And for me, it's important to play Michael's video today as he is the sponsor for our beautiful show. Not only is Michael the sponsor for our show, but the whole show is to honor Michael because he is going to be our cover person, our beautiful cover human that is going to portray his beautifulness on front of the Diamond Moment magazine. So please, you are welcome to look at the magazine. It's on selfloveforme.com, selfloveforme.com, and it will be also in the show notes. You are welcome to go and visit my beautiful website where the magazine is, and then Michael's connection is also on the show notes. So my beautiful Michael, thank you for investing in us, me and Sunay. Sunay and me, I'm so sorry to say. In Afrikaans, we do it a different way. I will always put myself first, but then in English is different way. Really, thank you for investing in us and trusting us that we are going to do an amazing, I can't say job, but amazing experience because you have chosen to trust us with your brand and with your love. Please, can you introduce yourself to the audience?
Hey, Sanet. First, thanks for having me here. And it is a job. I mean, it is a lot of work to put that magazine together. So Michael LeBlanc, I am an author. I'm a coach, but my work is really around, it's all about aligning with your spiritual divine self. And so I tend to do what I call guided energy meditations and energy work and breath with how do you align? And then from that aligned place, then do your life, whatever that is, then manifest your life. And so my writings, my coaching, my workshops are all around that. I do some corporate training on the side. That's all around culture change and stuff. And I had a career in that. But my background's in social work. I've been a licensed clinical social worker 36 years, I think it is. And I'm certified in Reiki and some other, I always liked alternative kind of healing methods and stuff. And then two of my books feature my garden photography. So somewhere this idea of creating an online store came about. So I have different gift ideas that have my photography, like yoga mats, pillows, coffee mugs, T-shirts, that kind of stuff. So anyway, so that's a little bit about me.
I love it. And I'm going to play your commercial in a few seconds. I just want to say thank you for your exquisite articles. We are now on issue number 15, and you have provided 14.
Yeah. So no, I appreciate it. It's always a lot of fun, and it's good for me. So so I'm glad.
Thank you. So are you ready for your commercial? And
no.
And I have made it 55.4. I was just in, so I'm so happy I could just squeeze it in because we are allowed to have a 55-second commercial on 360. So here we go. I think we're going to move to the side. I'm sure of that. Let me see.
Sure.
I don't know about you, but I love living my life by aligning with my divine self, applying spirituality and metaphysics to life. It's way more fun for me than just the world's way. And I'm Michael LeBlanc. I am a licensed clinical social worker. I am a best-selling author, ×3 books. And my work is all around helping people align with their divine self and manifesting their life from that place. And I also use garden photography from my own photography from my garden in my books, and as well as I have an online store where I feature and create gifts and products using my garden photography as well. So pleasure to meet you. And
Wow, amazing, amazing. Thank you, my beautiful. I should have taken off that little what a pleasure, or I don't know, it's just stopped there. So, so how is your commercial, my beautiful Michael?
It was all right. It's
All
it's
right.
always it's always tricky to like in 45 seconds say something, you know.
Okay, but your wording was beautiful, but the rest I've done, did you like that?
Yeah. No, I did. I wasn't sure how you were going to put that together, and you did that rather quickly. So,
And I had to look after the little one because my daughter had to prepare to go out, and he was not a very happy baby, so I had to do it
no,
in between. So thank you so much, my
no,
beautiful,
all good, all good.
my beautiful Michael. How did you start your business?
Um, how did I start my business? So, once upon a time, I actually was going to be a priest, and I was in undergrad school. So I was in my 20s. I was really getting passionate around spirituality at that time, and I was raised Catholic, and so I was like, I think I'm going to be a priest. And so I actually sat out of college for a year with that decision in mind, and did some. They're called come and see programs. You could actually go live with different orders within the Catholic Church and just see what they were about. And for me, it was really, is it what I would want to do, kind of thing. And I prayed for 3 signs. I remember one of them was blue roses because I was positive they did not exist. So I was like, well, great, I'll play for. And I go to one of these come and see programs, and they take us into this house, and they take us to the living room, and above the fireplace is this big vase of blue roses. And so I was like, damn. And so I was in my 20s though, and it's like I was spiritual, but I didn't find myself really religious. Like, and the Bible was like a source of spirituality, but it wasn't like the only source. And I was just coming to terms with being gay, and so it's like, all right, you're gay, you're not religious, the Bible's so, maybe you really shouldn't be a priest after all. But I met some people who were in social work, and it's like, well, at the heart of it, it was about caring for others, helping other people. And so I ended up getting my master's in social work, and I had a whole career in that, and I got burnt out. And I went into this whole other career of consulting and training at an international level and doing leadership trainings for like Chevron, ExxonMobil, all those big corporations. But years later, it's like it was a successful career, but it wasn't really what I loved. It's like I was missing the personal growth, the spirituality. So I hired a life coach to help me, like, well, what do I want to do again? Right. It's like, I don't know that I want to go back and be a therapist, but I would like to incorporate some of the personal growth and counseling and energy work and all that stuff. And as a traditional therapist, none of that really can always align. So I got certified as a coach, and I still have my license as a clinical social worker. And I decided in that journey, I would pray and meditate a lot, and I would follow these inspirations. And one of them was to write my first book, which was about God as a consciousness and an intelligence and our relationship to it. And it's called Manifest a Better Life with God. And it's about law of attraction and how all that weaves together. But I was still working corporate at that time. And I had this kind of wish. Part of it was I was like, I wanted to be fired. But I wanted to be fired with a severance package and with them keeping me on as a contractor. So when I wrote my book, I started my own LLC, knowing like I'm going to work my way out of this corporate stuff and I'm going to get back into the world of personal growth and counseling and coaching and that kind of stuff, right? And so December 17th, 2017, 2 days before my birthday, my boss comes in and fires me. And because they were downsizing and it was just a horrible experience for him. But immediately he's like, here's your severance package. We want to keep you on as a contractor. It was like all of it just came to be. And so really officially I started on my own in 2017 in that December, and had my first book out, started developing workshops around those teachings, doing a master class, stuff like that. Started incorporating more energy work and getting you out of your head space into that heart space. And then from there, and blessing of the energy centers and things like that, and into my one-on-one coaching stuff. And then kept following divine intuition. And that led to another book, which was a coffee table book, my Divine Dirt book, which is back somewhere over here. And it was about, garden photography with inspirational writings. And that led to book number 3, which was more of that. And so it's, I think for me, it's been, you go within and you keep listening to this, and then you follow it as best as possible, and it's kind of like see what the hell happens.
Wow.
The online store was kind of the same way. It's like, well, I have all this photography, and what would be creative ways to display it? So throw pillows, yoga mats, coffee mugs, and so the online store kind of happened from there. So there's kind of a long answer to your question.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much, my beautiful Michael. What lights you up or what inspires you every day?
I'm a morning person. I always have been since I was a kid. But mornings now, there really are to me, they're that quiet time with God, with the divine. It is a go in there and be with and realign. And if I'm in a funk, it's like it gets me back into a good place about life and the good that I have in my life, and sometimes I can get overly focused on what I don't have yet, kind of thing, and or what hasn't manifested yet, and then you lose sight of what is all the good going on.
Yes.
But I genuinely look forward to that time. And it's the other one is it's kind of simple, but I pour my first cup of coffee and I go for a walk in the neighborhood. I used to go walk with my dogs; they passed away, so now I take my coffee for a walk. But I've always loved that morning energy, space, quiet, outside if possible, kind of stuff. So that kind of inspires me on a daily basis to get started.
Wow. You inspire me in everything that you do, and your voice is transcendent. You have come through so many times to do a meditation on the summits, on everything that I ask you have done. So I just want to say thank you for being you. Thank you for being amazing. Beautiful viewers, you are going to wonder why I am on the other side now. So there was just a glitch, and I said to God, please help me. I'm going to fix this because the time was running down. My stomach went into knots when I saw that, and I thought, what am I going to do? And I just asked God, what can I do? And he said, go to Zoom. Oh, I got the feeling I have to go to Zoom, and we will continue. So my beautiful viewers on E360, there was magic in the air. Beautiful. Michael and myself had switched around. So Michael, now you can ask me a question.
What question is that?
Any question you want.
Actually, how are you enjoying New Zealand and being with the kids and your daughter and family? And
Oh, wow. Thank you so much for asking. So, for me, didn't see my grandchildren and my daughter and son-in-law for 18 months. Well, see them, talk to them online, but not see them.
Mhm.
When I got here, the little one said to me, "Oh, Ma, you've got long legs. You just not see this." So
Yeah.
for me, it's still almost 2 months, and it's truly a miracle every day. The little one is tomorrow 6 weeks old, so I'm truly
Oh,
blessed to be
fun,
here. Thank you for asking. My
fun, fun,
beautiful
fun.
Michael, where did you, when did, or how did you decide on your website? Because it's a beautiful name, and I will never forget it. So it's like you have chosen an amazing website name, so that
So,
nobody can forget about it.
well, it's kind of evolved. So it was create with consciousness at first. And then I still like that, but it's a lot to type in. So, so somewhere along the way, actually, I think I was working with Daniel Gomez for a little while, and Manifest with Michael, um, it just had a nice sound to it. It's way simpler to type, and so now it's manifestwithmichael.com, and then my store is Divine Dirt because my all my books, and so divinedirt.net is my store. So those are kind of my two spaces, and but yeah, it just because a lot of my work and my writing, it is around manifesting and consciousness and spirituality and God and how all that ties together. Um, and so it is around manifesting your life in a specific way. So and my name's Michael, so manifest with Michael just kind of flowed, worked together.
I
So
love it. The first time I met you, I will never forget it. I will never forget it. So, my beautiful Michael, looking at your corporate career and then your career that you wanted to do, the inspirational part. If you think about both aspects, what is the one um, thing that you're most proud of in your working environment and then in what you are doing now?
so this is actually my second time to do the entrepreneur thing. So when my originally with my social work, I did have my own private practice as a therapist and stuff like that. And then I got pretty burnt out, and I also had a real bad experience with a client. And it just really it kind of it shook me at my core, and it made me doubt myself, and like I wasn't any good, and you really shouldn't be doing this, and and it all those negative limiting beliefs were there. And as it's easy to want to be pissed off with the client, but at the same time, it surfaced stuff that was there before the client, right? So, um, but it was hard for me to recover from that and still see people and do all that. And so I needed to just take a break. And I'd done a little bit of teaching and training over the years. And so I got in, I was like, well, what if I did that as a profession? And so I joined a international consulting training company, and it was all the people side of culture and stuff. It was high risk industries. So the oil and gas and mining, and where your day-to-day work really could kill you if you didn't work in a culture where you could speak up and believe in your own safety. And
Mm-mm.
so anyway, it was never supposed to be a career. It was supposed to be a break. But 20 something, 20 years later or whatever it is, but it was international. I got to see the world. I've been in like 28 countries, and I learned a lot about how to be in front of people and share yourself and think on your feet. And so there was a lot of strength from that experience. And I loved all the different cultures um and just the people. The people and the food have been my favorite, from the travels and stuff. But I knew in my heart I really like personal growth. I like spirituality the most, and but how to use it, like how do you
I remember I had this heated argument with God one time, and I was in my 20s, and I was like, "You're fired." It's like, I was like, "You're of no use." I was like, "Yeah, I was raised Catholic, so it's like, who cares if there's a God after I die? It's like I need one here, and if you can't help me here, you're just useless, you know." So I wanted more, and I was furious, and I just was like, I demanded more. And when I think back, it's like my journey, more is exactly what happened. It's like there was, in all these weird, I was in these weird little towns doing my internships and stuff for grad school. And all of a sudden I'm meeting people who are studying the Course in Miracles and all these other, it was like these doors. And so anyway, and that has just continued. It's like I kind of always remember that fight. But it was like more than more is what you're going to get, right? And that journey has just continued. And I completely forgot what your question was.
So, what was one of the biggest highlights
Oh, for my career,
for your career, and in what you have helped other people?
yeah. So the corporate stuff was just great. It was meaningful work, and I did enjoy it. It was not what my passion originally was about, right? And so now it was like coming back to that, but I didn't want to just be a therapist again and do all that standard stuff. It's like there's more, and I wanted to do more. So it's like, well, I won't be a therapist. I have my license as a therapist, but I don't call myself a therapist. And I am certified in Reiki, and I am certified in coaching, and I blend it all together, you know. Um, and and then I never planned on being an author like that. I never had a dream about being an author. I always wrote, but it was journaling. I always wrote just as a way to. It was a part of my growth. It was part of how I centered. Um, but the idea came along about, hey, you ever thought about writing a book? And it's like, well, okay, and then now book number 3. So it's like, all right, so.
Amazing.
So for anybody listening, it's like just keep following those intuitive nudges and just give it a go, see what happens, see where they take you.
That was actually my next question. I wanted to ask you, what advice do you have for somebody that is stuck in a career or a situation that they cannot get out of there? And yes,
Well, 2 things come to mind. It's like, you hear a lot about limiting beliefs and all that kind of stuff. And part of what's challenging about them is that there's neurology wrapped up in them because they're very rehearsed and practiced. But even though they might be chronic, it's chronic does not mean permanent. And I think as much neurology that can sometimes get a part of a limiting belief, it's still just a chronic one. It is not permanent, and you can really rewire, and all that can fade, and you can. I call it like limiting beliefs can expire, like. So to me, there's that, but the other is I'm a big fan of withdraw from your headspace and this world stuff and go in here and keep kind of as you go in here, it's like, well, what's next? And I don't care if it's about this moment or if it's about a bigger question, but just get a sense of that. And so, because that divine intuition is hooked up to a much broader intelligence, right? It's like we're talking an intelligence that can create worlds, right, and universes. So it's like, well, then, and that's part of what I am. So let me ask the question that way versus out here, right? Let me not ask this outer world what's next. Let me go in here and ask what's next. So
I had to buy funky glasses here because I cannot get my hard glasses. The little one walked away with it, and I didn't see it, and we
well,
can't find it. So
I like your glasses.
Thank you. I've got another pair for you when you give me goosebumps. I love that. One of the things is that was so heartfelt from you. I don't really get sick. My immune system is good. I really don't. I got one time sick this year, one time. And we couldn't do a recording, can you remember? And you
Hmm.
you left a message and said, Sanet, can I have a meditation with you? Please can you send me a Zoom link. And you have done an amazing, while I closed my eyes and we were both on Zoom. And I have, for that week, the whole week, I continually listen to your amazing voice and what you have said to me in the meditation. How important is to go within, first of all,
Hmm.
and how I don't want to say easy, but can I use the word easy? Because sometimes people think when you tap inside your intuition is difficult, but it actually is easy. How easy is to tap into your wisdom inside?
To me, the technique I teach that's simplest is you just sense your breathing in your heart center. And when I sense my breath, it interrupts thinking because sensing something is not thinking about something. Like I can sense a person next to me and I'm not thinking about the person, I'm sensing it. So if you sense your breathing specifically here, you literally shift out of that analytical space and what I just call your head space, and it helps you drop into a different space, and you'll feel it. It might be subtle, but you'll just feel a shift, a ease, something. And to me, if you keep doing it, then you keep leaving. It's a consciousness, it's an energy, and you tuning into a different consciousness and a different energy. And the way we can tell that is by how we feel. Like if you were hooked up to electrodes, it would read a different brainwave, but you'll feel it more through you'll sense the difference through your feelings. And so if you're in a stress place, your mind is racing and you start just sensing your breath. Don't try to out like positive thought is it's not bad, but and thought has energy, but positive thought is a harder way to move from a negative stress space to a better space. Your breath into your heart space is a much more effective way to do that. So the quickest answer I could give anybody is just sense your breathing and sense it in your heart space. There's a lot of reasons to why it works, but just that would be the technique. That would be the thing.
I love that. Thank you. And thank you, my beautiful Michael, for that day. It helped me tremendously. And you have done that for me. So I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. The
Oh, you're
next,
welcome.
the next question I wanted to ask is around about creativity, because you are writing all your own meditations. How creative are you with your beautiful photographs? Your articles in the Diamond Moment magazine is exquisite. So, as a creative, we've all gone through periods of creative blocks. How do you
Mm.
deal with creative blocks when you get them? And what have you found to help the most when those blocks come up?
Um, I think it's important to notice when you're trying to push it. You're trying to, yeah, you're trying to force it. You're trying to make it. You're not feeling it. You know, it's not flowing. You're trying to just make something happen. And to me, it's like, well, you got to notice that first, and then the moment you notice it, then you can do something to unhook. You know, and for me, I like simple things. So like the breath thing I just was mentioning, that's an easy thing you can do for a few minutes to just it just shifts you to another place, and your solutions the energy and consciousness of your problem your is different than the energy and consciousness of your answers and solutions and stuff. They do not exist in the same frequency. It's like two different radio stations completely. So if I'm stuck in one and now I'm wrestling with it, I'm still never going to tune into the answer part, right? And just hammering at it harder is not going to help it. But if I
Exactly.
leave it, a lot of times you'll hear people say, well, I just went and did something else, and then bam, all of a sudden the answer came. It's like, sure, because you shifted your energy, you went to a new space of consciousness, and now the answer could show itself to you because you went somewhere else. And so a breathing, I just tend to go take a walk in the parking lot. I'm in my office, so I say parking lot. If I'm home, I just go walk outside. Nature is a great space because it is an energy, it is a real frequency, and it is a frequency of a coherent heart. So when your heart coherence, that frequency is exactly the frequency of the earth. So if you go outside, it can help you shift to those spaces. So things like that, to me, it's but you got to notice you're starting to force it. You're not letting it, you're trying to make it happen, and you need to like step out of that.
For me, your creativity is so immense because you've got your meditations, you've got your book, your writing. So that question I really wanted to make sure to ask you. My beautiful Michael, what has 2025 in store for you?
So I'm just want to say one more thing on
Oh, yes, you're
the
welcome.
other one, and it's unfolded into all that. Like my first book had no garden photography in it. Then I just started writing these inspirational pieces and sharing them with photography from my garden. And I was just sharing on social media. It was just, I was writing them for me. It's like, hey, maybe somebody else might like to hear this. And then after a while, people were like, hey, that really helped. And I kept getting all this feedback about it. So then I had a collection of them. And then that turned into the Divine Dirt book and the store. And so nowhere was it like, okay, this is my plan in 5 years, right? It's just, it evolved. And so for people who aren't 5-year thinker planner people, just it's gonna, it unfolds if you keep kind of, well, what's next kind of thing, right? So anyway, I had to kind of just say that out there. And now 2020, yeah,
Before
go
you
ahead.
go to 2025, I remember when you came to the show in August, somebody phoned me the next day and said, I have met an author, Michael LeBlanc. And I said, where did you meet him? And she said, on your show. Okay, I'm happy. And she went and took your book out of the where her library is, and it
Uh-huh.
was that yellow one, and she showed, look. I said, she's all the way in Texas. She said, that one, yeah. She said, she met the author. How amazing to see the author in real
Mm.
life. I was like so happy because I thought she met you in person, and she said, no,
Yeah,
on your show. I was like,
yeah.
okay.
That's great. That's great.
So what is 2025 is going to bring for you, my beautiful Michael?
Um, I have more books in my head. That's where they tend to start. And my corporate training work's been busier, so a lot of times when that happens, it takes a lot of my time, and all my other stuff kind of just, my books don't expire, so it's like, well, I'll come back to them, but they're not gone away, and I'm not taking a break like I did last time. But there are some more Divine Dirt kind of series books I want to do. One of them is actually around that breath heart process and how it interrupts negative thought, anxiety, and stress, and how you can use it as a meditation practice, but you can use it in the moment when you are experiencing stress or negative thought and stuff. And I want to do a little mini Divine Dirt book. So it's still garden photography, but it's really about that process and how to use that process in your day to day and stuff. So kind of a little mini book. Um,
May I ask you, can you do a mini book for children as well?
I
Because
could. I've never written a little kitty book, but it would be kind of fun. Yeah.
my grandson asked me about attitude this morning, And I went back to the breathing. I call it a 4x4 breathing. And I said,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
where does attitude come from? I said, can you give me an example that you were very upset? And he gave me an example. And he said, and I said, okay, Omi, you are so clever. What will you suggest? And I told him to breathe, to rethink why the teacher have told him that. I must tell you that my grandson, I was driving and he looked at me. I quickly looked at him and he looked at this glow in his face like, wow, Omi. He said to me, Omi, you are so clever, but in Afrikaans, slim. You are so slim, Oma. But maybe also for children, because I think the
Yeah.
brave work for children will be amazing and make it easy,
But
easier.
that's just it. That's the whole thing. There's a lot of science and research that's happening, and there's a lot of physiology that's happening in your body when you breathe into your heart center. Um, and so there's teaching the process because it's effective, but then the book would include the why it works and what's going on in your physiology and that kind of stuff. But in simple ways. I'm not a big scientist researcher person. I like science and I like spirituality. So anyway, 2025, it will be still some corporate stuff. There will be some travel in that, but it feels time to work on the next book project. And I think that one, for some reason, has my focus right now because I think if people in their day to day knew there was an easy way, and I'm not saying you'll go from stress to bliss, right? I'm just saying you can go from stress to now you can think again, stress from now I cannot yell at somebody, like I can interrupt having to clean up some mess, So as a part, so I'm kind of I think that'll be part of my 2025, and I still like designing stuff with my photography, and I'm it's been a journey. Like I've never considered myself a photographer, and I don't know that I still do. I take good pictures. I have an eye for some flowers and what I want it to do. I was just talking to an actual professional photographer today because I'm having him print out some of my photos, and I'm going to have them professionally framed for a gift store in town that's going to sell them for me. But he is a professional photographer. Like he knows what the hell he's doing and he knows what his camera does. And I said, yeah, I just yell at my camera. I was like, you took it last time, take it this time. And so anyway, so stuff like that next year.
So does he agree that you are an amazing photographer?
He did like my photos, and there was one I was trying to select out of a little handful of them, and he goes, I really like this one. And so it's like, oh, well, that's cool. So
can I give you permission to say that you are an amazing photographer?
I could say I'm an amazing photographer. Sure. And it's I'm enjoying doing more with my photography. So it's like it's growing on me. It's kind of like being a writer. When I wrote Divine Dirt Digging Deeper, the pink one back here, the woman who helped me with that is Ann Bruce, and she's written 27 books. She's a best-selling author with McGraw-Hill. She writes for Shark Tank. She does all this amazing stuff. And she kept telling me she loved my first Divine Dirt book. And she's like, she's a writing coach. And she's like, if you ever want to do another book project, I'd love to work with you. And I love what you do. And it really it took me a while to believe her. It's like to just believe. It's like, okay, my writing really is good, and but it's all gradually,
That's
coming.
actually a good question for me to ask, because for
Yeah,
me, trusting yourself, believing in yourself, for me, changed my life as well. Because as soon as I started to lose weight and I trusted myself not to cheat and not to do something that I was not supposed to do, because
yeah,
my why was so big, the more I've trusted myself, the more I continue. And then when God put this Diamond Beauties, Tanzanite euros, and everything I am doing on my, I want to say lap, But also, I didn't get everything at once because I didn't, if I got everything at once, I would have never been able to do that. So it's also
Yeah.
gradually have become more and more. And just, I
Yeah.
think it's just a plan that God had for me. So, but
Right.
trusting myself that I can do it. And if I don't know how to do it, I trust that God, He is the big orchestra of this amazing. Uh, um, now I don't, I know my Afrikaans word, but I don't know. He's in front of the orchestra and
You,
he's.
oh, the conductor?
Oh, the conductor, he's the conductor, and he knows exactly where I need to have this person or that resources. So, trusting,
Say the word in your native tongue. What is it? What is the word?
dirigent.
Okay. I want to hear it.
Dirigent. So ja, wanneer ek baie keer Afrikaans praat, vergeet ek wat die Engelse woord is. Sometimes I forget when I'm talking in Afrikaans. My grandson asked me something in Afrikaans, but we do speak Afrikaans here. And he asked me something in Afrikaans. I said, oh, Unieke, I forgot what it is. I said, I think I talk too much English. And then my English, like somebody said, I said it, I like your simplicity of words and sentence. I said, yeah, but I don't have this big words. Some of them I cannot even pronounce. So I rather stick to
Yeah.
the simple ones because it's just easy for me. So my beautiful Michael,
Mm-hmm.
2025 is going to be amazing. I don't know if you have selected a word of the word for the year, because that's quite a big thing. I never did that before, but the last
Mm-hmm.
2 years I started to do it because a lot of Americans told me they have selected their word for the year. So what do you have a word already selected for next year?
No, and I don't know. I don't honestly tend to do that sort of
Oh,
stuff either.
okay. So I need you to
But
ask me.
if I were to pick a word for the year, I think it would be more around trust. And it is around that trusting that divine space. It has all my good stuff there. It has the best version of me there. It's already there. It's already known. Like like that's the version God knows me to be. And so it's trusting the unfolding of that and the allowing of that on my end, and believing in that invisible space more than this visible space, you know.
I love that.
So that if I were to pick a word, that would be the word.
Ask me, ask me.
What's your word going to be in 2025?
Celebration, celebration.
Awesome.
So
Awesome.
next year I will be 60 years old, and
Okay.
I'm gonna celebrate the whole year, the whole year.
Awesome. Awesome. Welcome to the club.
Thank you. My beautiful Michael, you will have to help me the pronunciation, but you will also do a Hopopona. That I love
So
myself. Yes,
Ho'oponopono.
yes, please.
Um, it's you wanted me to just talk about that a little bit?
Yes,
Yeah.
please. Yes.
Yeah. It's it's blessing things is what it is. But when I think of blessing things, it's like it's effective if you're blessing it till you feel the energy and feeling of its shift. So, and Ho'oponopono is a way to focus, I would say, and bless, because you're using, when I took the course to be certified, like there's a pretty elaborate piece of it. But then there's 4 phrases, which is what's commonly kind of known and what Joe Vitale was big about getting out into the world. And, you know, the I love you, I'm sorry, forgive me, and thank you, right? It's the 4 phrases. But to me, when I do it, and when I do it with the energy centers and my blessing of the energy centers, what I'm having people to do is I said, I want you to send the energy of I love you, right, to your energy center. So to me, it's about the energy of those words. So quick story on that. I was in Vancouver, 2-day business meeting. The end of day 1, we were probably 6 or 7 people coming together to kind of develop some new stuff. A lot of strong personalities and opinions in the room. And at the end of that first day, it was just crap. And I was dreading day two. I just was like, it's going to be awful, you know. And I went to my hotel room and I got into meditation and I got into my heart space. And then I brought the whole meeting into my heart. Like I brought every individual into that space. And I just used the 4 phrases as a way to truly bless us, bless the space, bless what we were doing, the individuals, specifically the ones that I was most irritated with. like bless those people too, you know. I stayed with it a good 30, 40 minutes. But I genuinely, at the end of that, I felt like the energy was different. Like it was no longer the same energy. It felt clean. It felt great. It felt amazing. And when I tell you, when I went to day 2 of the meeting the next day, it was phenomenal. We had the best day, fun, got so much done. It was just night and day, right? Night and day. And it took, I mean, I had to kind of leave this space and go elsewhere, but I used the phrases as a way to keep me there. And I kept not the words, but the energy of the words. Like I genuinely wanted better, right? So anyway, it was, you know, and I've had other experiences like that, but it was a dramatic difference.
Thank you for telling this story. So when we had our first, you have come to the show by yourself and did a meditation for us. I must just tell you, it was so powerful that I could feel my head every time dropping into a, and I was so scared the spit is going to come out. I had to take my feet underneath and make sure I move it a lot. So we do have about 10 more minutes left.
Okay.
Do you want to do a 5 to 6 minutes blessing
Sure.
for the audience out there, that I can feel and experience a taste of how your magic is unfolding in front of them?
Sure. And that's another part of 2025 is I love doing meditations. I've not recorded any to put them on my store so people could just go purchase them and download them. And I will say something about meditation. I believe in silent meditation, but when your mind is in a busy place and it's hard to do silent meditation, a guided meditation to me is the thing to do, because you're using them to focus you into that spot. Now, when you get into that spot and you can go into silence on your own, I would always recommend that, right? But there's just a, but yes.
I'm so happy you're going to do it, because I've asked you already a whole year to do it.
I know. So yes, guided meditations. So you want to do that now?
Yes, please.
Just a few minutes?
Yes.
Okay. So really what I would suggest people do is, I say place your hand on your heart, and it's just to help you focus. You don't have to do that. You don't have to close your eyes. If you're going to do it with your eyes open, just find a soft space you can gaze on, or a spot you can gaze on. But if you're not comfortable with closing your eyes, then just simply leave them open. But find a spot you can gaze on. And initially, all I want you to do is begin to sense your breath, but sense it as if you're breathing into your heart space and out of your heart space. And it's just a normal breath, but you're sensing the breathing into the heart and out of the heart. It's like if I asked you to sense your breath in your right nostril, you literally could sense your breathing in that spot. But instead, sense it in your heart space. And it's just a breath in and a breath out. Just using the breath to shift from your head space to your heart space. Letting your mind be, letting your thoughts be, letting you be, letting your day be. Just sensing the breath with everything the way it is. And now I'm going to ask you to take a couple of breaths, still in the heart space, but breathe a breath that equals all is well. Your body, your being, it knows how to breathe a breath that equals all is well, regardless of anything going on in your world. So, on purpose, still sensing the heart space, breathe a breath that equals all is well. It might be fuller, slower, deeper. In this heart space, if you can, just remember, it is a divine space, an energy, an intelligence, a presence. Just breathe into that space. And for one moment in this space, I'm just going to ask you to rest yourself, your feelings, your thoughts. Any struggle, any concern, even things that are good. Just rest everything in this space for one moment. It's just like bringing an ice cube into the sun. If you just let it rest in the sun, the energy can transform. So just rest yourself in all aspects of your life, people, feelings. Just let all of it be in this space for just one moment. Not trying to fix anything, not trying to change anything, not trying to fix you, change you. Just as things are, let it all rest in this divine energy, divine movement. And one more time, I want you to breathe a breath that says that all is well. And breathe it into yourself, your life, all the aspects you just thought about. And breathe one more that says all is well. And then when you're ready, I ask you to come on back. Try to be better about time this time. I lost track of time last time.
Yeah, and I know that when you're in a meditation, that person that put you in have to bring you out. And yeah, I didn't do what I needed to remind Michael this time is up. My beautiful Michael, how are you feeling at this moment?
I'm good. How was that for you?
It was amazing. Thank you so much for giving us your amazingness. And then before we go, can you tell us what is your golden nugget?
My golden nugget. Like a word of wisdom kind of thing? Is that what a golden nugget?
That golden nugget that you gave me, let me see if I can tell you what it was. Your inner self has to be aligned with your dream. I love that.
Yes. That's still a good one.
So that is what I've got on my database. So I love that because sometimes we do what other people say we need to do. But you have to do what you need to do. Come inside of you. Michael, is there one or two, I don't want to say tips, but advice you would love to give to the viewers on E360? Just to have an amazing life every day.
So that simple process of sensing your breathing, your day naturally has natural pauses in it. You might have a phone call and then you're going to go do something else. But before you go do something else, use that pause to just sense your breath. It could be for 30 seconds. And then you're going to go do some other stuff. And then you're going to have this kind of like just a natural between this and the next thing. But instead of just rushing to the next, it's like breathe again and sense just 30, 60 seconds. And what I find is at the end of your day, it wasn't a run-on sentence. You didn't start on a full tank and end on an empty tank because you kind of refilled along the way. And it doesn't have to be like, well, I can't take a 5-minute break. Don't take a 5-minute break. You can breathe, and you can breathe all as well on purpose. And you could do it for 30 seconds, 60 seconds. And it just puts energy back into you. It puts a period on the thing. And so you end up at the end of your day less depleted, less stressed out. So there you go.
I loved it. I loved it.
Woo-hoo, I got the glasses twice today.
Well, 3 times because this one twice, and then I gave you this one. Did you see this one?
Oh, I didn't see that one. Awesome. Awesome.
But if I put it on, everything moves, Dad. Everything moves.
You're going to make Elton John jealous.
I tell you, my beautiful Michael, thank you so much for being our cover person, our cover human, amazing human for our Diamond Moment magazine. How you feel to be on the cover, not only the cover, but have an amazing spread inside of the magazine.
Good. I'm working on all that now. And it's a lot to think about, right? It's like all the different questions and stuff. So it's been good. It's been good. And I will meet my deadline.
I'm so happy. And thank you so much for coming on this show, the Power Hour TV show. That is just part of the package to say thank you for being truly amazing. So
you can take a picture of us, send me a picture of us.
I took a few in between, but I will do
okay.
now one.
No,
you can
good.
smile.
That's good.
Okay. Wow. So my beautiful viewers on E360, I want to say, ask you, how are your day? Do you feel stress? If you do, please re-look at the video and see how amazing the processes that Michael have shown us. So, Michael, we cannot do the dancing because we had to switch over to the Zoom, and I cannot play out of Zoom. I can maybe do another, but it's all okay because I want to play your video again after the show, and also
okay.
Beautiful sponsor Jose Escobar. So all I want to say is thank you, my beautiful Michael, for your presence. Thank you for being an amazing man, and thank you for being part of my life. My beautiful viewers on E360, please look after yourself, smile often, and keep on dancing. And before I go, I want to say to all the Diamond Beauties and Tanzanite Heroes, thank you for being an amazing community. Our beautiful Mrs. Spots, we're going to have 5 ladies, 5 days a week in 2025 that will hold space and meetings for anybody to join so that the loneliness can disappear. And in our beautiful Tanzanite Euro group, we've got now 2 gentlemen. That's going to be our Mr. Hots, Euros of Tanzanite. They're going to have space for half an hour for any gentleman just to connect and feel that there's a belonging. And in the future, we will have a little bit more gentlemen, but we are trying out 2 gentlemen. And Howard will soon start with his Friday. So on a Monday, Tuesday, and then Howard will start on a Friday. So thank you so much, my beautiful community. I love you all. Mwah.